Awesome. Welcome everyone to today's show, Ignite Your Purpose so you can feel your passion. And I'm very excited to share with you today the basis of what we're going to be talking about, which is your second chakra. And once you master your second chakra energy center, which is your feeling center, you're going to find it much easier to stay connected to your intuition. So it is true, your feelings are always guiding you. So as you listen to those positive feelings and take action on them, you're going to get positive results. If you start to get some negative emotion, it's usually telling you something. So you want to take some time and ask yourself and love that part of you that's communicating what we're considering a negative emotion, whether it's fear or anger or whatever it is, and really see what is it trying to show you and what action do you need to take proactively rather than reacting in fear or anger. Okay, does that make sense? So you're basically really getting tuned into your feelings as messengers of information. And then you're listening even deeper to that knowing. And that knowing of your intuition is a very calm certainty. It's almost even more than a feeling. It's just a clarity of mind, of heart, and of body. It's a deep knowing. A lot of people experience that in their gut feeling, and we talked about that last time. And I've started talking to more people since then, and I also am getting some feedback that people feel it in their heart, or they just feel it, even in their mind as a thought that comes through them. So don't be too attached to how you're getting intuitive guidance. Just start to be aware of where you feel your inner knowing, where you feel that certainty. And that is where you're going to want to follow. Now, the reason it's so important to listen to it is, in your life, you're often going to be presented with new circumstances and events and experiences. So if you have this grounded, calm center of being to start to make your decisions from, you're going to be what I call guided. You're going to be in alignment with your soul, knowing that your intuition really is that guide, that God has given us to listen to stay in alignment with what we're really here to do, with what our purpose is. So I have a personal mission and a business mission, and everyone, really should have, I believe, because when we start to get clear and narrow in our focus as to why we're here and what we want to accomplish, our energy becomes focused into that, and then our intuition can guide us down that path. So today I'm going to teach you how to connect in with that inner knowing and then to feel the energy of your purpose. So I was just talking to a colleague of mine yesterday who's going to be a guest on the show later down the road, and we were talking about, the power of when you're really connected to your purpose, you don't let other things define you. So you don't let your bank account, you don't let relationships, or what you're considering a perfect body define you. You actually see those just as experiences or parts of you, but not you. And you realize all of those things are transitory, right? They go in and out. Sometimes you have a lot of money, sometimes you dip down. It doesn't mean that you're not connected to your intuition. So I want you guys to really get and really hear me when I say, as I'm teaching you this intuition to income process, really understand that I've been at the height and the depth of all different levels, and you probably will too. That's part of the journey. That's where we gather information, we get a new perspective, we may deepen our practice, we really get to understand ourselves. But it doesn't mean your intuition isn't working. It just means that you're learning, okay? But if you stay the course, you will get the results you're looking for in some way. Quite frankly, sometimes we don't always get what we're expecting because our soul, our intuition knows something much deeper than our mind can understand or that we can see. For instance, we may say, oh, I want $1 million because that will make me happy, okay? So our mind has created a perception that's saying, if I have this, then I'll be happy and fulfilled. Meanwhile, your soul, which is communicated through your heart and your intuition, knows deep down that it's really not the money that's going to make you happy, right? It's a feeling. It's a connection to your true self. And once you have that connection to your true self, which I call intuition, you're in alignment, and you're no longer defined by that $1,000,000 or not having $1,000,000. That actually becomes the byproduct and the result of you being aligned with you. So this course is really about teaching you how to get that alignment. And that's why I'm teaching you the chakras, which will allow you to balance your energy and then naturally be in alignment with universal source energy. So can you imagine if you were connected completely to the infinite capacity of the universe, what you could do, right? Start to imagine. The possibilities really are endless. You can become that millionaire, and you probably will. Or you may just be starting that business. It doesn't really matter. The point is, once you have an intention and it's aligned with your intuition, you will at one point be able to manifest that. But you've got to let go of the attachment of it and the timing. I do a lot of work with angels, and one of the messages I get often is divine timing. Divine timing means when everything's in alignment for you and for the other person and for the universe at that time for a bigger message, a bigger energy, a vibration, an energetic shift to happen. And once that happens, you get that particular outcome, right? But you can't control me, or I can't control you. We can't even control the weather. You know, I just went outside for my run today and it was extremely windy. I'm so grateful that it's getting warm, but it's really windy. So I took a bit of a shorter run, you know, but I can't control the wind. You know, I can only do what I can do, which is go for the run. Now tomorrow it might be calmer and I may want to go for a longer run. In fact, I'm traveling, so I'm going to go somewhere else and it probably will be less windy. But I will be in alignment for that longer run at that time because I will be at a different place, right? And therefore the weather's different at that place. So there's a different alignment, okay? So the benefit of being able to connect with your intuition on a dime and really know yourself and stay in alignment, and you can do that by listening to these videos just to keep your chakras clear as they possibly can be, so the light really moves through you. Like I'm doing right now, I'm really just channeling information from the universal source energy, right? We're all interconnected. You know, some people use the light or love to describe it. To me, there's really not even a word, but there is a knowing that is very undeniable that each of us have, that know we are all interconnected, right? That we're all of something bigger than ourselves, okay? And that's the power and beauty of being connected to your intuition, because you are linking into something bigger than your body, bigger than your bank account, bigger than your mind. You are tapping into the universal source energy. And your soul, because it's not embodied, it's infinite energy, has the capacity to understand that. Okay? So those of us who, you know, are awakened and practice this spiritual work, we may find it easier to get these insights. Those of us who are just realizing, wow, what is possible, we may need to practice a little more, okay? And start to tame down the fear. You know, if you start to get afraid of what you're stepping into because you can't see it, really just love the fear. You know, love the anger if you get frustrated because you don't think you're doing it right. You know, that's the other thing I was talking with my friend Rana about is, you know, sometimes we blame ourselves because we think if something's not working out the way we thought we should, maybe we did something wrong. No, it's not the case, right? Again, it goes back to alignment. You know, sometimes you may need to realign your energy, but it doesn't mean you did something wrong, right? And sometimes it's just a numbers game. Sometimes you may need to reach more people, you know? So, you know, our company is going under a transformation right now where we're really expanding out to reach more people, and we're going to do some of the groundwork first, you know, so we can reach those people. So don't judge yourself, but just really allow yourself to go through the process of this alignment, and know the bigger your dream is, the more growth you need to go through, right? So you can choose, you know, maybe to just take one step or stay at your current job, and if that's fulfilling for you, awesome. Maybe you're growing in a different area. Maybe it's your health or your relationships. But if you're jumping into, you know, say something like, you know, I'm on a mission to is reaching the entire planet, That's a pretty big mission, right? Like, I want to touch every single person that wants to learn intuition and give them the tools to be able to remember to remember what they already know, because intuition is within us. It's very innate. That's why children understand it, right? And they're very easy, and they're very joy filled, and they express their emotions because they know what they know. They know what they want, right? So when you have this bigger, mission and vision, you are required to become that and grow into it. So you must understand that it's nothing that you're doing or not doing at times. It just means you're going through the transformation of your life, okay? And that's what I'm here to do as your guide, is to really hold your hand and love you through the process of whatever you're creating, whatever you're stepping into. And all of you have different ones. Some of you are specializing in health and wellness or relationships, and others of you are wanting to increase your income and help people do that. So it doesn't really matter what your particular calling is, but you do want to feel what that calling is. And you do want to give yourself permission to open your heart and really feel it. So go ahead and just take a moment to close your eyes and connect with your heart and really feel, what does my heart want? Maybe even place your hand on your heart and just feel into, if I could do anything, what does my heart want? What is my deepest heart's desire? And just start to develop this communication with your heart, almost like it's your best friend. You can open your eyes whenever you want and start listening. What is your heart telling you? Your heart will communicate in feelings, okay? It will just tell you. The best example I can give you of this is when I, had graduated from high school. I was given a pretty much full ride scholarship to go to school in LA. I was from Oregon, and it was really exciting to be able to, come down to Southern California in the sun and, experience a college experience. So I enrolled, and, my family drove me down, got settled in the dorms, and started school. My scholarship was an academic and leadership one, but I also played basketball, so they even invited me to join the basketball team, and I was very involved in the school, but I wasn't connected to it. It just didn't feel right. In fact, I felt very depressed. I felt very sad. I started breaking out with these big boils all over my neck, and it just wasn't a fit. And my heart, based on what I was feeling, kept saying, this isn't right. This isn't what I want. And so I would pray, and I would go into nature and meditate. I remember there was a park by the school, and I would just go there and I would just say, please, God, show me what my path is, because I don't agree with what I'm learning. I don't want to be here. I don't like this. And I started seeing images, and I did that, probably because I had a lot of awakening experiences as a child. And all of you can do this too. I'm going to guide you through it. But when I was sitting there in these meditations, I started seeing images that flashed across my third eye center, so your psychic center. And I saw myself sitting across from another person, just like you and I are doing right now. And we really were connecting at the heart level. And I was holding the space of unconditional love and non-judgment for them. And as I was doing that, they were getting their answers. And I started this own theory in my mind that, what if at our core, if we just had the space of love and somebody to understand us, what if at our core we knew our own answers? And so it was enough for me to grasp onto, because I felt it in my gut. Not only did I feel it in my heart, I felt a congruence in my belly. In fact, I felt it so strong that my whole body was moving me forward. There was an energy that was starting to carry me that if I stopped it, I was in resistance, and it was even more uncomfortable. So the reason I say follow your gut is that was my experience. I felt that. So if you don't feel it quite in your gut, maybe you feel it in your heart, but eventually you're going to start to feel it in your body. You're going to feel it as an energy moving through you. And that's your life force energy. That's why my company is called Life Force Connection. That energy is moving you and me together to this particular moment and us into greater alignment of what we're here to do. So I followed that energy right out the door, right to the dean's office, and I did. I sat on it for a week or two and really made sure I was making a smart decision, knowing, what I was leaving behind. And I also took a trip to San Diego, which is about 2 hours from where I was at Whittier College in Eastern Los Angeles. It's a liberal arts school, and which I thought would be the fit, but I guess it wasn't enough to be a liberal arts school. I really was an entrepreneur at heart, so I just had to follow that. So, on my trip to San Diego, I drove into La Jolla, and I could just feel it was my home, and that is where I set my roots down, and that has become my home. 11 years later, and through this whole process of my life, that's always where home was. So I tell you that because you too will find your alignment where home feels, not only within yourself, but also where you live. And you will eventually be able to live there if that's what you want. There's certain environments that allow our spirit to thrive. So La Jolla was that for me. So I drove back to the school, and it was within a few days I went to the dean's office, and I said, hey, listen, this just isn't a fit. And he's like, well, you're getting good grades and you're on the basketball team, and everybody goes through this and you're going to be back. And I was like, no, I'm pretty clear, like, this is just not for me. And so I walked out the door. He signed my papers. He had to honor my request. It's what I wanted. And I had purchased a lot of extra food because I had a hard time eating the food that they had there. So I bought a bunch of naked juices, which are these fresh squeezed juices. And that's pretty much what I was eating. And so I had an excess of them. I didn't know what I was going to do them because I was leaving. So on my way out, after packing everything up, I remember stopping on the corner of the street, and there was a bunch of people on the street, and I just said, hey, free juice, would you like some? And I just started handing out these juices. And there was a feeling of being able to give from this place of fullness that gave my heart so much fulfillment. And so the combination of seeing, that vision of working one-on-one with people, and then being able to give from this place of fullness and see how I could help and serve was just the extra energy that I needed to then just fly down the freeway in my 1984 Beamer and fly back home to Oregon for a couple months to get regrounded. And, during that time, I went within and I connected to what my heart really wanted. And what came up for me is I love children. And so I started applying as a nanny. And eventually, it was only a couple months, I was back in San Diego with some miraculous events happening. I had a friend who I'd never met before offer for me to stay in her home with another person I'd never met before. And I came down here on a leap of faith and applied to a lot of nanny agencies and got a lot of interviews. And about the day before I was going to leave, I'd spent about a week at the home that I was invited to stay in, and I started feeling like I was imposing. So I just said, okay, God, angels, guides, I need you to show me the way, because, if it doesn't happen by this day, I'm going to go back to Oregon. This must have been a big mistake. This whole intuitive thing that I felt must not have really been true. And, it's okay. Maybe I made a mistake. So the next morning I woke up and I had a call from San Diego Nannies, and they said, I think we found it. You can go meet him. He was the CEO of a big company. And I did. I went and met him. There was an instant connection. And I really got the job the next day and moved in. It was a live-in position, and the children were amazing. I've always had a very nurturing energy about me, so I was really able to step in as a mother figure and really nurture the family and just really provide for them in the way that I could with my energy. So it was a great experience. And during that 2-year period of being a live-in nanny, I was able to go back to school for what I loved, which was working with energy and the mind at a different level. So I started studying massage therapy and hypnotherapy and NLP and all these different tools where I could see how I could work with people at a soul level and also help them clear out the unconscious patterns, which I learned in NLP that affect us a lot more than the conscious ones, right? So I was really able to get what I needed to fulfill what my heart's desire was. And, as I was going to school, because I had so much love to give and I just wanted to share, I started my practice, within 6 months of being at my NLP school, and people started coming and they started paying me, and I actually created the business. I started getting a website and a brochure, and, I really was very successful, very naturally and easily. And I know I was because I was in alignment. I had followed what was true for me, and I was given the energy to give to other people, and then the money was the exchange between what we were sharing, right? And a whole lot of love, of course. And so, the practice grew through referral, through advertising. I was also partnering with the university at the time. So when they moved, I moved, and I was able to start a wellness center where then I did massage and coaching and chakra balancing workshops and really did all of it. And so that grew. Anytime you have a center and a location, people come and find you. And I did a lot of networking, a lot of connections, were happening for me. And I built that for a couple of years. And then later down the road, I took some personal time off, and then I transitioned into more of a business coach, like I'm doing now, where I work with entrepreneurs to help them very clearly understand why they're here and get in alignment with it, and to clear all those blocks that are stuck up in their mind that are stopping them. Usually fear, past conditioning, right? So when we align with the soul, with our intuition, all that stuff fades away because we get it's not true. Okay, and that's why the chakra stuff is so important to practice on a daily basis, because it will keep you in alignment. Okay, even if it's just visualizing the colors of each of the chakras and visualizing the energy centers to balance them, you need to keep your energy balanced. Okay, so in doing so, I was very balanced because I had the nanny job and I was being able to give back. I later transitioned into a business coach, and so as I started applying these principles, the Wellness Center was very much about helping people with their personal life. And so when I stepped into the business, I thought to myself, well, wait a minute, if intuition works to make you happier and more fulfilled, wouldn't it work to help you in your business? Because knowing that I had made a lot of intuitive decisions around my business and been successful at it, I figured, well, a lot of other people would. So I started attracting a lot of attorneys and real estate agents and people who needed to use their intuition to be very successful and to make good decisions. And so as I started, signing people onto my contracts, they were getting the results, and people were doubling, tripling their income. Some of them were quadrupling them. And most of all, they were getting connected to them in a way that they really understood and they really got and they really felt. Right? It was really about them, and it always is about us, right? How we feel about ourselves. At the end of the day, no matter how much money we're making, if we don't feel good about what we're doing, it's just, if you're like me, it's just not worth it, So they were really able to even start making changes in their personal life, even though they were focused on business, right? So it showed me that it worked. Okay, and then eventually, we opened the school where we now have CEU credits on the curriculum I teach. So it is a state-approved course where you can get certified as a life coach. And it's actually, not a life coach. It's an intuitive success coach. I just say life coach because usually that's what people relate to. But the certification is an intuitive success coaching. So if you're interested in that, you can always talk to me more about it. It's a very lengthy program and requires a lot of commitment. So it's not right for everybody, but it is right for some. So if that does speak to your heart, you're welcome to reach out to me. And the email, is abby@lifeforceconnection.com. So anyways, where was I going with that? So, as we built the school and started, seeing these entrepreneurs do so well in their business and get their fulfillment, it really made me want to reach of course, even more people. Here's me always expanding. I just literally can't stop that energy, and that will be the same thing for you. And so I'm like, I want to reach the world. So at about the 2-mark period of having a successful school running, being very profitable, I decided I was going to leave everything and start traveling. So I left my beach home right on the water, absolutely gorgeous, put all my stuff in storage, and went by myself to go travel to Thailand for a month. And so I embarked on this journey by myself, but very guided from this heart place and this deep knowing once again. And from the moment I got off the plane, I was just greeted with so much love by these beautiful people. And, that's why, my mission is to start building schools over there and share intuition cross-culturally now with them. But, that desire was born in my heart, and I had the most beautiful experience of my entire life during that time. I was embraced, like family over there from people who only knew me as a stranger, but they felt my heart. And so that's why, the next series we're doing is on the universal language of love, because I'm going to teach you how to start communicating from your energy rather than your words. And I certainly did not know Thai at all, but I knew love. And so I would send energy from my heart, and then it would come back to me. And so without saying anything, I had an entire family take a day off and take me around an island. And then when I got sick, they pulled over and got me something for my nose without me saying anything, right? They just were there to support. And if I needed something to eat, my friend would come up in his little scooter and say, hey, you want to go to the store? Without saying anything. So this is the power, you guys, of when you really trust and commit to living in that heart center and that sacred spot, you realize how you're taken care of. And again, it is a journey. Don't expect it to all be easy, but you will always, always, always be supported, and you will always, always, always be loved because you are so held in that loving space. I clearly love to travel, but I'm just remembering a time when I was in Mexico recently. I looked up at the moon and it was in the shape of a cradle. It was a crest of the moon, but it was in the exact shape of a cradle. And that's the universe's love for you. That is how much support is here for you. If you just listen to your heart and trust what you know, and it's not easy. I had many people question me, why are you leaving, college? What are you doing? Luckily my parents, my mom in particular, was very supportive of it. She just told me to follow my heart, and I'm blessed to have that support, and a lot of people don't. But I did get a lot of pushback, even as I built my practice over the years. I had people saying, well, don't you have a degree? Or, maybe you should go back to school for psychology. And I was like, I went through the whole, maybe I'm stupid, that's why I left, or maybe I do need a degree, right? All those mental things that I've helped a lot of clients through. But I really knew I didn't need it. And I had no desire to go back other than to prove that I was smart, which I just decided to eventually hold on to my business to decide that that was enough to make me smart. And so what I was able to do is really not give as much energy to the external and really focus on the internal. And, sometime I may share my childhood experience that, allowed me to do that, but it was from, really significant outside pressure and really being strong enough to stand in the fire and in the truth of, no, this is what I know to be true. So when you have that type of conviction, you will be aligned to your purpose, all right? And that's what I go through in the Intuitive Success Coaching Certification course. Is we spend a whole weekend on this, where you really get to feel into that. And, I can give you a touch of it now, which is why it's called igniting, your purpose. And so you can ignite it by simply going to your heart and trusting your intuition, trusting that inner knowing, trusting that gut feeling, and maybe even ask yourself, what does your intuition mean to you? If you're not feeling it as a gut feeling, or you're not feeling it in your body, or whatever your case is, ask, if your intuition was an image, what would it look like? If your intuition was a sound, what would it sound like? If it was a feeling, if you do feel it in your body, what would it feel like? Maybe if it was a smell, what would it smell like? Or what would it taste like? Start to connect with your imagination. That is where you will start getting linked in. Because, this is why, again, children are so intuitive, is, in case you hadn't noticed, they're very full of their imagination. They live in a world of wonder, right? And we did too when we were kids. I still remember playing in the trees and, talking to my future kids and, my friends in the trees, my guides, my angels. I don't think I called them guides and angels back then, but clearly they were, because they were very loud and clear to me, because I really could feel their presence. And I had so much fun, So you don't have to be right. Just practice, and being like, But what I do know is everybody does know. So if somebody ever tells me that, they can't connect to their intuition, I know it's not true. I know that it's a God-given gift that everybody has. There's not some of us that have it and other people that don't. It's just not true. Okay? We all have our intuition. And it's just a matter of listening to it. The truth is, most people are afraid to listen to what they know. Because if we really take responsibility for the truth and we really show up authentically, it means we have to do it. It means that I have to do whatever it's going to take to reach the planet. It's my mission. And so what is that for you? If you start following your truth and you start listening to what you know, what does that mean for you? Does it mean you need to leave your job, or transition into a new family, or start a business, or maybe start running and start paying attention to your body and eating healthier. What does that mean? I don't know what it is for you, but I do know, just like when I sat down as a, freshman in college and saw that visualization of sitting across from someone, just like I'm doing right now, that you do know. You absolutely know the answer. And if you will just listen and have the courage to follow and take action on what you know, you will be successful. And I could tell you many, many stories, one of which just a couple of days ago, I was meeting with a student of mine. She was actually my very first student. And, she reminded me the power of taking action on what you know. And that although you don't know what will happen, that the one thing you do know is you can trust yourself. And as you do that and as you practice that, I promise you, you will be on purpose. Because again, your intuition is that direct link to your source, to the unconditional love and potential within you. So thanks so much for joining me today. Make it a great day, and I will talk to you soon. Again, feel free to email me at abby@lifeforceconnection.com. Take care.